One of the interesting things that I found with working with you, Blaine, as a physical therapist, I realized that you have some unique tools that I hadn't ever seen in other physical therapists' offices. And one of them is the Alter G. So I'd like to spend just a little bit of time asking you about this question, about this product and what it does for you. Actually, what is it all about, and what do you use it for, and how are you planning on using it? So.
The Alter G Treadmill it's an anti-gravity treadmill, so it's a special treadmill that supports your body weight while you're walking or running. And so we have a lot of applications for that, a wide variety of different types of patients or even people who aren't injured that may be using it more for prevention purposes.
For me, personally, this is one of the things that, because I was using it, I realized it helped me recover quicker, not because it was because it actually improved any of my physical ability, but more it recovered my mental state of, am I ever going to return to running? So
yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. That's a big part of therapy too, is your your mental well-being and your ability to feel hope for the future. And I think the Alter G Treadmill is a great tool for that.
Yeah. Have you seen that happen with other? I'm guessing you've seen that happen with other customers or patients as well.
Yeah, in fact, sometimes we give it the nickname the smile machine, because a lot of times people are in a lot of pain walking, and then they get in the Alter G Treadmill and suddenly they can walk or run without pain, which is something they haven't done for a long time. And so we've even had tears of joy on the Alter G Treadmill before.
Oh wow! Well, I didn't quite get to that point, but I could understand it actually, the way I felt after going through it.
Yeah.
So let's go through this. We'll have some dubbing. You can talk about some of the stuff as we kind of go through it, because it is a noisy machine. But let's go through this. We'll talk about the process of getting into it and some of the things that you might have to do, just so if somebody comes to your office, they can recognize what they're in for.
Know what to expect. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. So step one is to put on the shorts.
And we have all sizes of shorts, and so the weight range, because we do have a minimum and maximum weight of people we can put in the Alter G, and so you have to weigh a minimum of 80 pounds, and then the weight limit, the maximum weight is 400 pounds. So we can accommodate adults within that range, which is most adults.
Okay.
So yeah, the shorts go right over whatever you're wearing.
They're super classy, by the way. And they have these zippers, and we'll look at those in just a second. All right, so the very first thing after you get your shorts on, then you have to get into the system.
Yep, so this is the Alter G Treadmill. It's the bones of it are a regular treadmill, but then it has this bubble. And the reason these shorts have a zipper on the waist is because they'll actually zip to the bubble. So those magnets stick on there. And then this zipper attached to this one. So the total process of climbing the machine takes about 60 seconds or so. Just gonna make sure I don't got a wrinkle here. And the zipper will go all the way around your waist. Once we get him in, we'll start the machine, and it goes through a calibration process where it's basically weighing him. It's making sure we have a good air seal. That takes about 30 seconds. It's a little bit noisy when I turn it on. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
Who usually uses this?
Great question. So our more common clients that use the Alter G are patients who have recently had surgery on their feet or their ankles or their knees, and they have some weight-bearing restrictions. And so it's a really nice tool for that, because a lot of times their doctor tells them not to bear weight on it, and then they say you can bear a little bit of weight, and then you can eventually bear all of your weight. And so doctors will often allow patients to come here and start bearing weight a little bit earlier than what was traditionally possible. And that's really nice, because it allows for completely normal mechanics in your feet and your ankles and your hips. And so where we see it really come in handy is, like, if, say for example, if you tear your Achilles tendon, you're going to be non-weight bearing for a few weeks. And even though the injury is in the back of your ankle, like, because you're in a surgical boot to protect that Achilles tendon that just got repaired, your forefoot and the knuckles in your toes are going to get really stiff just because they're not allowed to bend in those boots. And so we can have people start walking early in this machine, and it's safe because we know how much force is going through your Achilles, and we can allow those normal mechanics in your, your toes and your knuckles and your forefoot.
And so I would imagine that might be, those would be the patients that you have the tears of joy from, is because maybe they've gone through a surgery or something, and they just have not been able to do anything that even approaches normalcy.
It does give them a light at the end of the tunnel that they can see pretty quickly when they get in the AlterG. Yeah. We also put a lot of non-surgical patients in there too, so we'll have patients with plantar fasciitis that maybe they've been limping for a long time because it's just too painful to walk normally, because they're walking on the edge of their foot, and you put them in there and they can suddenly walk normally. And then we can combine that with our more traditional things that we do in physical therapy, and it allows them to get all the benefits, the health benefits we get out of walking without pounding on their plantar fascia too much. Yeah. And so we also put a lot of elderly patients have arthritis in their hips or knees, and they find it too difficult to walk like they normally did, walk their dog or walk on a normal treadmill, but they can start walking in this machine and build those muscles back up, and we can gradually taper off the support we're giving them and build them we might start them at a very light weight and gradually build them up to their more normal body weight. So really it's a nice bridge to build people from where they are to where they want to be.
Nice. You also told me, we may have it in another video, but you also told me one time that sometimes you use pregnancy as a reason why someone might want to use this, just because it relieves some of the pressure on their lower back. Is that true?
It does. It's a great tool. I kind of found that out on accident actually, but we do work with patients who are in their third trimester of pregnancy fairly often. And they're probably the patients that love the anti-gravity treadmill the most, because you can put them in there and the bubble that you're encapsulated inside of kind of supports their tummy, and you can put them at their pre-pregnancy weight or even lighter if you want to. And the support of the shorts kind of supports their low back and their hips, and they can get a good workout in there without straining their hips, which are often painful during that third pregnancy. So it's not all they do when they come here to therapy, but it's a really nice component of therapy that they can come here and get a good workout, and it doesn't ruin their day, but it actually makes them feel better to be able to move and not hurt.
Yeah. What a great thing to make someone's life a little bit better, so.
It is fun to help them get through that third trimester a little bit easier.
Yeah, awesome.
We also use this tool for runners a lot, running injuries. So if someone has shin splints or plantar fasciitis or stress fractures, we use it for that a lot to manage the load, because we can have them still running without putting nearly as much strain through their bones and their joints and their tendons. And then sometimes even clients who are not necessarily physical therapy patients, but they're maybe training for a marathon and they're trying to prevent injuries, sometimes they'll come in here and they'll maybe run at 70 or 80% of their normal body weight. And that way they can get the volume of miles in that they need to get to train for the marathon, but it puts a whole lot less stress through their tendons and bones, so our risk of injury goes way down when we use the AlterG to train for things like marathons. We use it for joint replacements a fair amount too. So
do you?
People who have had a knee replacement often, or an ankle replacement, do well on the AlterG treadmill, because they're usually on crutches or a walker for several weeks after that surgery. And again, they're often kind of depressed and they wonder if they're ever going to walk normal again. And you get them in here and you can start walking normal earlier, and it's a huge mental boost. They're just always really happy when they use it.
So, after you've completed your workout, come here.
And then you'll actually just break those magnets off, and you'll keep the shorts on while that bubble goes down. And then once you climb out, you can take the shorts off.
All right. So that's the AlterG, and Blaine, thanks for letting me come and break a little sweat during the winter months here, running on that thing for you.
You're welcome. It's a fun toy to play with.
Yeah, it is. One of the things that we did, and we may not be able to, we may not discuss it other ways, but you kind of feel the weight of real gravity real fast if you've run for a considerable amount of time on that, I would imagine. Are there any side effects that might happen from working with this?
So potentially the main side effects are, we know which parts of your joints and your muscles it offloads and which ones it doesn't. And so it offloads a lot of your muscles, but it does not offload your hamstrings or your hip flexors that much. And so you just got to be careful because it's easy to run a lot faster in the Alter G treadmill than it is a regular treadmill. And so because it's easier to run faster, that's a potential to get injured. So we have to be careful not to have people run too fast, or you could potentially strain a hamstring or hip flexor if you're going too fast in there without building up to it properly.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Any final thoughts before we go?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, awesome.
All right.